We are going to explore today how to create conceptual bridges using the Bridge Wizard. As this is our data set, here we're going to place our new DGN file. So we're going to open Bridge. As it's opening, let's select the proper workspace. Let's create a new file. Create a new file. As we are attaching the proper workspace, let's confirm that it's selecting the proper seed file. There has to be a 3D file. We're going to place it into the proper directory into our project. We call it time 2, and it's going to be bridge folder. Let's call it Bridge Wizard to have a name. Okay, let's close. And as you can see, the file is blank as it's supposed to be. Let's close the properties here. So let's attach the proper files for the project to work. So I'm going to go reference files, and I'm going to tools attach the alignment file. The alignment, that's the Courier model and the utility. So let's attach only the alignment just to start. Here using coincident word. So we set up the alignment to a fit view, and that's my alignment right here with the proper stationing. And let's also attach the ground information. So let's attach, and let's look for the photogrammetry, and that is the terrain. Was here works well. We open it. That's fine. Okay, and that is the Bridge Wizard. Right. So now this is the ground information. So we can display the ground in many different ways. Since this is a reference file, so we can open the properties here and see that all the options to be displayed are grayed out. Why? Because again, this is a reference file. So what we need to do is override the symbology. This is not going to affect the original file. It's just going to be, let's call it, affecting us, in which now we can display the ground the way we want it. So for example, I can see all the triangles, right? We can see all the major contours and minor contours that were set up, right? So this is our project. As you can see, it's a massive display. So usually that's what we work only with the boundary on. Till the ground is active, but again, it is on the display, right? So we have this. Now, let's start with the Bridge Wizard. So we're just going to work mostly into the OpenBridge modeler workflow, right? So this is all the commands that we need to place the bridge. And we're going to be reviewing this in great detail when we place our final bridge, not only for the class, but also for the project itself. So now let's select first that I need to attach a terrain. So, right, so we need to set up an active bridge. Again, there is no need to do that because this will do it if I go step by step. The same will set up the alignment. And the first, if we're going to use this ribbon, I will need to start adding a bridge. We're going to do this in a different class, right? When we go basically step by step, placing the pier lines, we call it in general support lines because there will be the abutment and the piers itself. right? This placing the superstructure with all the different options. That could be concrete beams, could be steel beams as well, with cross frames, splices, and so on and so forth, and the substructure too, defining the piers, the abutments, and the bearings. So let's start with the wizard. So what is a wizard? A wizard, it's a tool that allows us to create a bridge very quick. You can see we have this dialog box right now. Okay, so let's define the name of the bridge that we are going to create. Let's call it class bridge. What type of bridge is going to be? It could be concrete girder, it could be a slab bridge, I girders, or it could be a concrete box. So let's place the steel girder bridge. We can create a new alignment on the fly, or we can select the alignments that are on the screen. Of course, these alignments are being read from the reference file. And now, if we move the cursor, we can also select the alignment from the screen. And now, as you can see, the name is again picked up. So that's the name of the alignment, Nelson Avenue Extension. And as you can see, the station starts moving as we move the cursor. And now, what template I'm going to use? Right? Then remember that we have our libraries, as we explained on the overview, that these are the libraries that I can use. And then I will just select the different options that I may have, right? So let's increase the text size. Let's decrease the text size. We can increase the distortion and see what we need to define, right? So we can use this template, right? Or we can create, remember, a custom template too on the fly, right? So we can just define fairly quick. Just I'm doing again conceptual design. I don't need to use any advanced template. I can say I need this width, I need this thickness to start, and so I can define a template on the fly. Then after defining my template, I can deal with the spans. So there are many different ways to define the spans, as you can see. So I can type one span of 100, another span of 100, and another one of 120 to say a number. Or I can just rewrite it and say two spans of 100 space and one of 120. Right? So I can do many different combinations. I can do something like that, for example. One span of 60, two of 100, another one of 120. So I can combine them, and there is no limit of the number of spans that I can do. Okay, so this bridge, let's just to say something, let's try two of 100, for example. Or it could be only one span of 120, right? But let's place two of 100 so we can have a pier in the middle. Okay. Now, since this is slip Tilger bridge, I can just use a library of existing shapes, or I can create a build-up beam. There is no variation of this beam along the length of the bridge. It's just going to be all across 72 inches, and the width of the flanges, right? They'll be uniform. Later, I can define or adjust them in more detail. Remember, this is more of a conceptual design. For that, right, I can pick a abutment template. So these are the different templates provided to us in the library. So I can select this, for example. And the pier template, since remember we have a pier in the middle, I can select for the menu provided by the software. right? As comes standard, or there's one a New York standard already predefined for us, right? So different options. Again, if I need to change the size or shape of the column, different type of footings, dimensions, or maybe a combined footing, I can just edit them in the library or after placing the bridge. That's your choice. Again, we're going to explain all these different options later. But again, remember, this is conceptual design. So again, don't worry about the cap length. It will be adjusted automatically. The wizard will do that. And the capabilities of a bridge as well. So let's pick this multi-column. And I can define the different materials coming from our material library uh, that we have already set up. Pick one, for example, this, and adjust all the other ones too, right? Uh, so we can go with geometry. Uh, there is no barriers I'm going to place yet. If we have to place a barrier, I can just place one and maybe create a new one, or just pick one from the library. Maybe let's try this F shape on the left, and let's pick the same one for the right. Left and right. Good. As I have it, I can also select to specify a different material for the barriers too. Right. So different type of concretes that I can select. So let's place this one to say something. Right. And then as it is, review the stations. Right. I can adjust the stations on the fly here. Right. So I can type it. Maybe I want to do it to 2200. Right? Adjust into this, or just pick the alignment again and just float the station one more time. Right? So let's do this, for example, 7700. Nope, that's 6 plus 77, right? 77, or one more time, select it and adjust it accordingly. 00. So the review, I'm going to be placing 5 beams at 8 feet separation. Right? I can check this and change the number of beams, maybe 6 beams at 7 feet separation, right? Or 5 beams at 8 feet separation. Again, remember conceptual design one more time. Let's go ahead and place our glass bridge along that. And that's our bridge. Now, remember, this is a 3D file, so we can apply rotation and see what we have, right? So just to review the concept, this is on the bridge wizard, right? We can open a different view, maybe view 5, and see one more time how the bridge looks like in 3D, right? So maybe we can work with the different views. So this could be uh, here and adjust it accordingly in 3D. Right? So we can just select view on tile it. So this could be working in view 1. I can work in top view. And here in view 5, I can work in isometric view. I can adjust, for example, the illustration here, change different way to display my bridge. I can adjust it in any view. We can just work on that like that. This is the beam. It has created bearings. Again, it has assumed the bearings. We cannot change that unless we go and edit the bridge, right? as you can see as well, the cap has been adjusted automatically with the many different options of matching the wall to the deck. Our barriers have been placed, as you can see as well. The footing has been placed. However, the dimensions were not adjusted properly, right? Again, it has placed the full footing and they are conflicting to each other, right? So this is something that we may need to fix later when we modify these options. So, but that's our bridge, right? So now if in this bridge, what we can do, I have many options at this time. Like for example, fairly quick, I can just generate a report and says, depending on the materials that I select, based on my material library, I can quickly go and say, well, give me a report of the different materials of the bridge and based on my price structure, right, that I place in my library, how much this bridge is going to cost, right? So, and that's our bridge. Now, to review what's in detail, I can introduce you to the Explorer. On the Explorer, this is the contents of all the elements in the file, not only on the bridge itself, but what the MicroStation file has inside, what it be used. But then here we're going to concentrate on what my model is. And in my model, in this bridge, I have a bridge that is called class bridge, right? And it's made of units. It's a steel girder unit, right? A steel bridge there. And it has a deck, right, that I can turn off, as you can see. That's the deck, right? The different beam layouts. What do I mean by a beam layout? If I rotate this, there are elements done in a 2D view, or also what we call a different model, right? In which we can see that this is the beam layout, right? How I lay out the beams. Remember 5 beams at 8 feet separation. These are the beams. The beam groups, so basically the beams that I have defined, right? So these are the beams that I have defined with all its different properties that I can one more time activate it now. Right, let's go it again. These are these beam groups one by one. Right. If I have more options, I can have, well, of course, it will be displaying the cross frames, the shear studs, the splices, right, that I may need to add, and the different supports, right, the pier, the abutment, I can hide them too, right? So I can just have to go in again, display the different options and configurations that I may have. I got my pier, that's pier 1, right? And these are these options. Now, I can just go to each individual element, like the piers, and edit each one of the options here, right? The bearings as well. Or what I can do is select the element here or here, it becomes highlighted, right? Select it, and on the properties window, right, start changing the options that I need. We're going to go into this more detail when I place the bridge one by one. So, but again, with the wizard, this is what I can get. Now, here what we can do, if I don't like this bridge, right, is to just go and say, no, delete bridge, and just do it, right? Or save these, create a new file, do the same attachment of the projects, and create a new bridge. So fairly quick, I can just go delete again one more time, for example, right? As an example, right? Adjust this again. Let's set it this to now the top view to make it simple for me. Go back to the bridge wizard and just call it class bridge 02. try and same options will apply, and maybe I need to change a different configuration. Let's try this now, for example, this solid pier, all right, and see what we can get. Same barriers, maybe a different configuration. Now I want three spans of 100, right? Let's go for it one more time. Or maybe a wider deck at the same station. And then I have a second bridge. So I can try different options, different configurations, and as well analyze at different costs. As he as we can try many different solutions as well. So it's creating that. So now we're going to have another configuration, right? So now bigger bridge configuration, right? And then we can say, well, let's analyze the cost of the bridge with these new materials. And done. Right? Now, and as you can see, I have another bridge here. Right? So I recommend to have one bridge per DGN file, right? To make it easier for us and make it available. So I have 2 or 3 engineers working in different bridges in different DGNs. So now I have a complete different bridge thanks to the Bridge Wizard.